In Canto chapter 6, verse 36 to verses 36 to 38. Tam Tata Bhagna Manaso Bhagna Bahuru Kandaran Vinyaya Bhagavan Tatra Babuva Garuda Dwaja Tan Tata Bhagna Manaso Bhagna Bahuru Kandaran Vinyaya Bhagavan Tatra Babuva Garuda Dwaja. Can all the demigods and demons, Tata thereafter, Bhagna Manasaha, being broken-hearted, Bhagna Bahu, with broken arms, Uru, thighs, Kandaran, and shoulders, Vijnaya, knowing, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, Tatra, there, Babuva, appeared, Garuda Dwaja, being carried on Garuda. Translation by His Divine Grace and His Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The demigods and demons were frustrated and disheartened, and their arms, thighs, and shoulders were broken. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who knows everything, appeared there on the back of his carrier Garuda. Let us repeat. The demigods and the demons were frustrated and disheartened, and their arms, thighs, and shoulders were broken. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who knows everything, appeared there on the back of his carrier Garuda. Giripat, text 37. Giripata Vinishpitan Bilokyamaradan Ikshaya Divayam Asa Nirjaya Nirvanam Yata Giripata, because of the falling of Mandara mountain. Vinishpitan, crushed. Vilokya, observing. Amara, the demigods. Danavan, and the demons. Ikshaya, simply by his glance. Divayam, Asa, brought back to life. Nirjaran, without agreement. Nirjanam, without bruises. Yatha, as. Translation by Siddhanta Saisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Observing that most of the demons and demigods have been crushed by the falling of the mountain, the Lord glanced over them and brought them back to life. Thus they became free from grief, and they even had no bruises on their bodies. Let us repeat. Observing that most of the demons and the demigods had been crushed by the falling of the mountain, the Lord glanced over them and brought them back to life. Thus they became free from grief, and they even had no bruises on their bodies. Text 6.38. Girim Charopya Garide Astena Ikena Lilaya Aruya Prayaya Abdin Shura Shura Janevita Girim, the mountain. Cha, also. Aropya, place it. Garude, on the back of Garuda. Astena, by the hand. Ekena, one. Nilaya, very easily as his pastime. Aruya, getting on. Prayayo, he went. Abdim, to the ocean of milk. Shura, Shura Banai, by the demigods and Ashuras. Vita, surrounded. Translation, purport by Siddham Grace, A.C. Bhakti, Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Lord very easily lifted the mountain with one hand and placed it on the back of Garuda. Then he took that on the back of Garuda and went to the ocean of milk, surrounded by the demigods and demons, surrounded by the demigods and demons. Purport. Here is the proof of the omnipotence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is above everyone. There are two classes of living entities, the demons and the demigods, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is above them both. The demons believe in the chance theory of creation, whereas the demigods believe in creation by the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The omnipotence of the Supreme Lord is proved here, for simply with one hand he lifted Mandara mountain. The demigods and the demons placed them on the back of Garuda and brought them to the ocean of milk. Now the demigods, the devotees, would immediately accept this incident, knowing that the Lord can lift anything, however heavy it might be. But although demons were also carried along with the demigods, demons, upon hearing of this incident, would say that it is mythological. But if God is all powerful, why would it be difficult for him to lift a mountain? Since he is floating, innumerable planets with many hundreds and thousands of Mandara mountains, why can't he lift one of them with his hand? This is not mythology, but difference between the believers and the faithless is that the devotees accept the incidents mentioned in the Vedic literature to be true, whereas the demons simply argue and label all these historical incidents mythology. Demons would prefer to explain that everything happening in the cosmic manifestation takes place by chance. But demigods or devotees never consider anything to be chance. Rather, they know that everything is an arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the difference between the demigods and the demons. Om Magyam Pigaradasya Vyamyana Salakaya Taksur Andikandena Jai Sri Guruvena Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Satakam Jayavitale Swayam Rupa Kadamayan Kadati Swatvati Vanchalampa Palibhishwati Kisindhire Vata Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasadi Srimati Krishna Prasadi Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasadi Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurutami Prasadi Nirvishesha Sangavadi Pasatya Vistana Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Om Bhagavatam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So these three verses describes how the demigods and the demons came to a point of cooperating with each other in order to get the nectar. So the nectar that they are striving for is that which will give them immortality. So we have read that all the demigods and demons, while trying to bring the Mandara mountain to the ocean of milk, or when they had already tried to churn the mountain by using Basuki as the belt. So it so happened that they were crushed. They were, their limbs and bodies were crushed by the mountain. So then the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared, and it is described that he lifted the Mandara mountain with one hand. So in the purport of Srila Prabhupada described that there are two kinds of human beings, either demoniac or the saintly or the devas, the demigods and the demons. So, as we read Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that these demons and the demigods are in constant war with each other, constant battle with each other, trying to gain the control of the whole universe. So here we see that they decided to cooperate, and we see that by their work, by their work by themselves, they cannot make their desires to become in reality. So we see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears whenever there's a problem in the universe. So this time, the demons and the devas cannot continue with the churning of the ocean of milk. So he appeared. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said that always the demons have the tendency to not to accept the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They theorize that everything happens by chance. But the devas or the devotees of the Supreme Lord, they believe that nothing happens by chance. Everything is working under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we know that this is being done through, and even the theory of the creation of the universe, the demoniac scientists believe that there is this start of the universe which they term as the theory of the Big Bang. The Big Bang theory. They believe that there is a big bang or a big explosion, and through that explosion everything started. So they theorize that all the chemicals in the universe just happen to mix with each other and eventually produce the organic chemicals needed for living entities to be created. But Srila Prabhupada likened this to a simple fact that if you have a watch, and you try to dismantle the watch is perfectly working. If you dismantle the watch and try to dismantle it into different parts, and then you put it in your hand, and then throw it upwards. So, hiwa-hiwalay na yung parte ng watch. So, sinasabi nila, what is the probability of catching the watch, but when it goes down to your palm, the watch is working at the right, and the watch is telling you the right time in accordance to the internet time. So I'd like to ask, what's the probability? I throw it up with all the parts, then catch it, and the watch is working. So in the same way, this is likened to the Big Bang Theory. That the Big Bang Theory started everything, and now you have a perfect creation of the universe, a perfect creation of the Earth, different planets like Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, etc. You have the Sun. All the planets are revolving around the Sun. And then you have the 8.4 billion species of life all over the universe. From the smallest bacteria to the highest living entity, Lord Brahma. So that's the theory of the demons. Everything happens by chance. But we know that everything is due to the desire of the Supreme Personality of God. So everything, the creation is being described in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein we heard that the Purusha avatars, the Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, the Shiro Dakasaya Vishnu, and the Karuna Dakasaya Vishnu. So these three Vishnus, we call them the Purusha avatars. They are the cause of the creation of the whole universe. And then we hear that after 3.11 trillion years, Lord Shiva will dance the dance of destruction, and from his body, the fire of destruction will emanate, and the universe will be dissolved. So after a time when nothing is being manifested, then the energy of Krishna, then the material energy called Pradhan will again be active simply by the glance of the Garbhodakasaya Vishnu. So everything will go again as creation, and we see that Lord Brahma came from the lake of the navel. From the lake, there's a lake in the navel of Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, and everything happened through the creative power of Lord Brahma. So in this chapter, we see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead carried by one hand the Mandala mountain. And again, in the pastime of Lord Krishna carried a hill in his pinky. So the demons, they turn this as what? Mythology. So even the demigods, they call it Greek mythology, they call it the Roman mythology, they call it the Hindu mythology. But we know that based on the scriptures, they are not myth. Everything happened in accordance to what is written in the Vedas. So, if we know this, creation and annihilation of the universe, we should eventually realize that we are very small. We are just a spark, which is 1/10,000 of the tip of the hair. So, we should realize that we are very minute, microscopic, and compared to the Supreme God, to the size of the universe, we are nothing. But sometimes, due to illusion, we become what? Proud of the small things that we are doing. Isn't it? Pride is there. Sometimes we become vain and think that we are so powerful and we control everything. So due to this illusion that we are controllers, we become offensive to other living entities. But we know that the process of the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, it requires us to become humble and tolerant. And just the other day, I was reading one of the purports of Srimad Bhagavatam. He said that the real devotee, a devotee who is in the platform of advanced stage of devotional service, is those who are always ready to forgive, always ready to forget everything that other living entities are doing against us. So in that way, we will avoid getting angry, we will avoid getting proud, we will avoid offenses to other living entities. We can tolerate things that somehow offend us. So again, I will repeat that an advanced devotee never takes offense. An advanced devotee never see that other living entities, other human beings offend them. He sees that everything happens to karma, action by action. So he is always ready to forgive. So this is also expressed by Jesus Christ in the Bible when he says that one should learn how to love one's enemies. So if you can tolerate your enemies, just like the demons and the devas, they decided to cooperate with each other, so things can be done. So in the same way, the devotees should cooperate with each other in trying to expand this movement by preaching, by distributing books, and by showing what? Compassion and love. When one shows compassion and love to other human beings, then they will be attracted by this movement. They will be attracted that there's a place where I can go and acquire peace, acquire knowledge and cooperation and love with each other. Isn't it? If we do not show that, then we are just another organization which is lame and not useful. So, the demons and the demigods, they're trying to churn the ocean of milk and get nectar to attain immortality. But actually, in this day and age, the real nectar is simply the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we can get the real immortality. We can get love of God. We can get the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His abode, in the Krishna Lok, in Goloka Vrindavan, and be part of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is real nectar. The real nectar now is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. The demons and demigods, they are trying to get immortality, but the so-called immortality is just the length of the life of Lord Brahma, or the length of the life of the denizens of the higher planetary system, wherein they live for millions and millions of years. And we are likened to a bacteria. So a bacteria lives for around 6 minutes, 10 minutes, or 1 day. But we know that we live for how many? 364 days a year. So a bacteria lives for 1 day, where we live for 365 days per year, times 100. So we are like demigods compared to the bacteria. In the same way, by using this example, we can believe that we are like bacteria compared to the demigods. So we do not say that, oh, it's just mythology. What we're reading in Srimad Bhagavatam is just myth. But due to this example of Srila Prabhupada, we are likened to a bacteria, to the demigods, and the bacteria is likened to us, and we are demigods to the bacteria. So we should have faith in this, the Vedas, in the books of Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. In that way, by reading all those scriptures, we can develop a very strong faith. Faith in the truth, faith in the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. And this is perfection. We can attain perfection in this life by knowing and by having faith in the holy names. There is perfection. Question?
Where can we find the ocean of milk? Is it in the upper planetary system? Was during the time that did that exist in this material world? Just like the Mandara mountain?
If you are studying astronomy or the simple astronomy in high school, there is what we call the uh, galaxy called Milky Way. When I first read the Ocean of Milk in Srimad, I was asking, is it the Milky Way? So the ocean of milk is where Shiva the Kasaya Vishnu lies. And it is being described in the fifth canto, where you can find the ocean of milk. So Shira, diba? Shira is milk. The ocean of milk. So similarly, when there's milk, when we churn it, we can produce what? Butter. We can produce ghee when we separate the water from the butter. Then similarly, by putting the lactobacilli, we can produce yogurt. So milk is very important in the Vedic culture. You can make make fire sacrifice without the ghee, and you cannot purify without the dung, cow dung, and the cow urine. So the cow is very important. Cows are very important. That's why the Vedic culture economy is based on cow protection and the tilling of the land using the bulls. So if you really want to know where the ocean of milk is, it is being described in the fifth canto. Kaya lang, I read the fifth canto several times. I still can't imagine the structure of the universe. I'm so fallen that I am not able to really understand how the structure of the universe is there. It is already being described, but somehow I'm very fallen. I cannot imagine yet. I'm still praying that I can understand how the structure of the universe is being described in the fifth canto. Maybe somebody from abroad or from the more advanced devotees can explain to us. But when we see the Vedic planetarium, maybe we can somehow understand how the structure of the universe is there as will be presented in the temple of the Vedic planetarium. So for sure, the ocean of milk is there. Siya mo na sinabi niya.
Ano dyan, diba? The demigods and the demons were fighting. Tapos natalo yung demigods. What did the demigods do? They surrendered to the Supreme Lord. Kaya di ba nag-ano si Lord Vishnu nag-advise
Oh,
na makipag-ano ka kayo na ni Maharaj.
maging kuwan muna sila. Because there is time factor. The time controls everything. So, sabi ni Lord Vishnu to the demigods, it's time for you to take the humble position and try to get the cooperation of the demons. So that's the instruction of Lord Vishnu, to become what? Humble. To lower their pride. So whatever the demons wanted, they want to First, they were aligned to the tail of Basuki. Di ba? Sabi nila, it's not auspicious to be at the last part of Basuki. So they said they want to be in front of the head. So, okay na. Sabi ng mga demigods, okay lang. So there are so many, wants ang mga demons. So the demigods just give it to them. Even when you will read that after they got the nectar, the jar of the nectar, the demons got the jar, so they remember the instruction of Lord Vishnu. Okay lang yan. Hindi sa kanila. So, as you progress in this chapter, you will know that the appearance of the lady, or the female incarnation of Lord Vishnu, which is the Mohini Murti, Mohini form, which eventually, wherein Lord Shiva was attracted to that, to the Mohini Murti, and due to the attraction, Lord Shiva, he expelled his sperm cell, and it fell down to different parts of the earth, and it became gold mines and silver mines. So if you worship Lord Shiva, you can be a gold miner. You will be able to know where all those sperm of Lord Shiva descended, and you will know where to mine the gold. But a devotee is not interested in the gold. He is interested in the nectar of the holy names in this day and age. So, this is the position of the demigods then. They were in humble position because they had no power to fight with the demigods. So when the devotees of Krishna are in pairing, yada yada dhamasya, tapati arata, abhyutana nagayamasya. Anyway, whenever there is the decline of religion and the demons become powerful, then I descend myself. True.
Same thing what happened to King Rahu. He said to get to Maratha.
Si Rahu.
If they cut their head. So this turning the milk and making immortality like a demon in the invite.
So, in this verse, we heard that the demons and the demigods, they were injured while trying to do their work on the turning of the ocean of milk. So Lord Krishna came and just glanced at them. They recuperated. So in the same way, when Rahu was able to drink a part of the nectar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Di ba yung chakra,
Sudarsana Chakra.
the Sudarshan chakra cut his head. But then the nectar was already reached the throat. So what became immortal was only the head. So the body was cut and it decayed. So anyway, and now it said that Rahu is the constant enemy of Chandra, Chandradev, the moon personification. So they are in constant war with each other. So it said that Rahu becomes Rahu affects moon and the sun during eclipse. So if the demons read this part of Srimad Bhagavatam, they will say, oh, it's mythology. Because we know that in science, it's just the moon eclipse or the solar eclipse. But we know that things happen in the higher planetary system which according to Srimad Bhagavatam, it is happening. But then, in this earth, we are so small, we can just glimpse of what's happening. So, we should have faith on the Srimad Bhagavatam as Srila Prabhupada expressed in his purport in this one of these verses. So it is also said that Srila Prabhupada did not believe in the moon landing, the Apollo 11 landing in the moon. They never landed. And even now, they cannot go there. They want to go to Mars, but then they cannot go back to the moon because they don't have the capability. Now the technology is very advanced. During the 1960s or 1968, when they acted just like landing in the moon, they never did land. Now they cannot go back after how many years? 68. That's 32 plus 20, 50 years. After 50 years. Computerized na lahat. Kasi hindi sila makabalik sa moon, sabi nila. They just say that it's sayang daw, it's too expensive. So, the Vedic scripture is not myth, it is truth. Vedas means knowledge. Our question? Yes, Prabhu.
About the persons who has Buddha and divine nature. So how do you know that the person has Buddha mentality with the nature?
Hindi ko masyadong narinig.
Even as persons, right and Kaliuga as residents the demons and
Demons, yeah. So in Kali Yuga, in the upper planetary system, you know that the demons, the great demons exist. There are great demons because they also follow the Vedas, follow also Brahminical They have Brahmins there. They know mystic power. So we call them the demons, but they are the great demons. But in Kali Yuga, it said that the demon in us resides inside. The demon in us, it's here. So we should try to control the demoniac tendencies because it is within us. Before the demoniac tendencies or qualities are outside, they are in persons. You can really see who are the demons and who are in the side of the Vedic scripture. So it's very dangerous. It's even dangerous in this time because the demonic qualities are within us. So the only solution is through the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and trying to acquire more knowledge, transcendental knowledge. In that way, we can fight our demoniac tendencies. So the demoniac tendencies, they manifest when we are proud, when we are in anger, and when we are in lust. Lust, anger, and greed. So they manifest. That's why in ISKCON, it is impossible for different human beings to congregate without a very powerful means. And that very powerful means is the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Before, Srila Prabhupada always says that when devotees are fighting with each other, Srila Prabhupada says, try to do common devotional activities. Then the fighting will go away. When we do preaching, when we do Harinam, those are when we do food for life, feeding, we do devotional service. So when we do more such devotional service, we can learn how to cooperate and work with each other. So the tendency to fight will diminish, and eventually there will be cooperation, there will be helping with each other, service to each other, and eventually love with each other. So this is the process which Prabhupada established, and he established ISKCON for everyone to live under. So never leave ISKCON. But, yes, please, follow up.
See, when you're talking about ISKCON, you can see and observe that this within ISKCON society, you can observe that lusty desires and also greed are now prominent. So how you can counteract this kind of situation?
Yeah, even in ISKCON, we can see that there are disparities, sometimes falsity and duplicity. But as we acquire more knowledge, we can see that these things are just temporary. Everything that's happening, negative or positive, these are all temporary. What is important is the service. So the only solution is to do more service, to serve each other. Then the fighting will go away. Duplicity will go away. The more we serve, the more we think that we are not this body, the more we realize that everything is just temporary, the more we realize that it is the Param Atma which decides which will happen and which will not, those faith on those basic knowledge and practice will make us do and avoid fighting. That's why it is said that one should forgive. The more you forgive, the more Krishna will see in your heart that you are what? Advancing. You are acquiring respect. You are able to respect everyone. And then eventually you realize that what's the point of having enemies? You know? There should be no enemy in you, in yourself, in ourselves. Because everything is just happening due to the Paramatma, and due to action-reaction. And if we know that we had committed sins in our previous life, and those who make us, cause us trouble, are just like even, then we can tolerate. You know? So we should always remember that. In that way, we can tolerate and control anger.
Yung lasting desire kasi,
Is that okay for you?
sabi nila, lasting, di ba, unfulfilled desire. Kapag hindi mo yung devotee, hindi na fulfill yung last, so anger arises. Yun yung, after, pag na-arise yung anger, greed, doon na yun. So, paano niya ma-overcome it? Even though she or he is chanting the Holy Name.
Actually,
Yun yung gusto desire niya, na hindi na makafulfill.
Yes, Mother. Actually, yung last, hindi na nagpe-pertain yun sa sex. Last pertains to material desires. Last. So, as we read from a particular verse from Bhagavad Gita, it says that from last, what? Anger. When it is not fulfilled, anger is there. And when there is anger, you are bewildered and your memory is what? Exhausted. Why? From the scientific point of view, when you are angry, all the circuits, the micro electrical circuits in your head become shorted. Diba, when sa electrical, when there is shorting, there is heat. Diba? Heat is produced. Then eventually there is explosion. So in the same way, there is short-circuiting of the electrical microchips in our brain. So when that happens, the memory cells becomes impaired, and we forget everything that we heard from the Guru. We forget everything that we wrote when read from the scriptures. And that's why when you are very angry, you forget that in front of you is your mother or brother or sister. You can kill them because of anger. We hear and read from news that so and so killed the whole family because of anger. You forget everything, even the relationship, isn't it? When the partner of husband and wife, when one becomes astray and turns left, the tendency is to kill because of anger. But if you, as devotees, we know that things happen because of karma. So if you are a devotee and your husband or wife left you, and you know that it's karma, then you can tolerate. You can tolerate. So the material life is just a flip-flopping of what? Lamentation and hankering. Hankering, we desire material things. You hanker. Nakita mong bumili ng TV yung isang kapitbahay mo, napakalaki, mga 40, 65 inch. Maghahanker ka na rin. Bakit itong asawa ko hindi ako maibili ng TV? 32 inch lang yung nabili sa akin, hindi pa smart. So, these things, they are hungry. I see a fellow female devotee with a beautiful sari. Mag-hankер ka na. Diba? You start hankering for the same. So, yun yung kwan. You should realize eventually through knowledge that everything is temporary. And to hanker or lust is very dangerous. Yes, Guru.
Are the demigods pure devotees of the Lord?
No.
What they?
The demigods are in the mode of goodness. So if you reach the point of mode of goodness, you will be qualified to enter the heavenly planets and become one of the demigods. So there's a point wherein due to one's austerities and good works, one is qualified to become a demigod in a Manvantara. We read, diba, in the previous chapters, Manvantaras. In different Manvantaras, there are different sets of demigods. You have a different set of Indra, you have a different set of sadhus, 7 rishis. So they are just positioned, like a position in a government. You have the universal government. So they are positions. So the demigods are not pure devotees. They are devotees, second devotee of Krishna in the mode of goodness. They are not yet perfect. That's why they are bound for fall down. They can be cursed by the rishis to fall down. So we heard many stories like Urvashi, the universal prostitute, or the universal. She's very beautiful. And one time she was cursed to have the tendency of the human being. So she went down. So they are not pure. Even the Gandharvas. The Gandharvas, may mga pakpak. Call them Gandharvas. Those who have, what? Like the angels. They sing very nicely. That's why they are called Gandharvas. So, even Srila Prabhupada said that the Beatles, once they were singers in the heavenly planets, they were once Gandharvas. Then you have the beautiful dancers, the Apsaras. So, they are not perfect. They have to fall down again in the middle planetary system to acquire good pious activities. That's why it is said the middle planetary system is where you acquire pious. You don't spend your pious activities here. One should do austerity. If you want to do sense gratification, the middle planetary system like the Earth is not the place to do sense gratification. It's the place to do austerity, attain more pious, and you go to the heavenly planets. You become a demigod and enjoy there. But if you do sense gratification, then instead of growing up, you go to hell. The hell is the destination for sense gratifiers in this middle planetary system. In the upper planetary system, you can do sensual gratification to the max. To the max. Here, it's a no-no. It's a no-no here. One will go to hell. Yes.
But there are other clients, there are other sect of people those who are preaching. They have no idea as to what is above heavenly planet. Does it mean like that?
Yes, other religion. They don't know anything about reincarnation, karma. They don't know about life before and life after death. They are in ignorance. So, if you count the number of Hare Krishna devotees here in the Philippines, so small. Isn't it? Maybe you can count only 1,000 those who are chanting. Tapos iba-iba pa ang denomination. May Narayan, may Haribol, may Litbit. So 1,000 over 112 million population of the Philippines. So it's not even 1%. So it is only in the Vedas that we can learn the transcendental knowledge. We can gain transcendental knowledge. Only through Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. Only through the Guru, instruction of the Guru, that we can elevate ourselves to a transcendental level beyond material. Wherein you can go, be liberated from the karma, action, reaction. So it is only here in ISKCON we can attain true knowledge of how to go to the heavenly planets, how to attain love so that one will not even be attracted to go to the heavenly planets. Because one will be attracted to the beauty of Shri Radhamada and their transcendental pastime. That way one can be free from the cycle of birth and death, samsara. One can be free from hankering. When one knows that everything is temporary and only in devotional service that we can attain eternity, then we can stop hankering, we can stop lust, anger, and greed. And it is very easy through the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Puro Arjun, may tanong ka pa? Yes, good.
So what about the other religious group? And then we are strictly following this four great principles. What about those service? Not devotion, because they are not following these rules and regulations.
So, it is said that having a religion is better than having nothing. at least in other religions, they teach about how to act with other human beings, how to become good. But in today's other religion, it's almost zero. The spiritual benefit is almost zero because they're eating meat, they're killing the innocent animals. When you eat meat, it's very hard to rise in the spiritual or to advance oneself, even to become a human being. So, Srila Prabhupada said that following the four regulative principles of no meat eating, fish and eggs, no illicit sex, no drugs and tea, no fish meat eating. They're just, when you follow those four regulative principles, you are just elevating oneself to the real human platform. So unless you follow the four regulative principles, you are considered not in the human level. You are considered as an animal. Two-legged animal. So that's why in the Brahma Samhita, so to become a vegetarian in this day and age in Kali Yuga, you are almost the same. Just becoming a vegetarian, you are already considered the same. Kasi when you refrain from being a reason for animal killing, you are already controlling your tongue. So those vegetarians, they're so-called vegans, what they only lack is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So when these vegans and vegetarians, they meet us, it's a good meeting. Because when we give them the chant and the happy book, when they hear us in the congregation of chanting, then they will be attracted. Those vegetarians and vegans, they will be more attractive than those who are eating meat. Yes.
Sa photosynthesis po,
Light.
yung sunlight, yun yung nag ng vegetation. Pero unlike sa Vedic namin, yung moon, yung source of vegetation.
So the process of photosynthesis in different plants and it's good because the sun is the source of energy. But your question is, how about the mushrooms? The mushrooms grow in darkness, and the source of fertilizer are dead pieces of flesh or decaying particles and darkness. That's why devotees are instructed not to take mushrooms. It is in the mode of darkness. So whether you like it or not, all mushrooms contain poison. Those that can be eaten, lesser poison lang yun, kaya hindi masyado. But their effects are in the mind and the genitals. So that's why some mushrooms are used para magamot to sexual problems. to cure sexual problems. So mushrooms enhances sexual urges. It's not good. And they're not offerable to Krishna. That's why the one used in bread, and that yeast. Yeast is the form of fungi. Fungus. That's why you don't use yeast in when we prepare eatables for the deities. They're not offerable. But because we want to enjoy, it's nice to eat bread with yeast. But they are not offerable. You can offer it in the picture. But the best is to offer chapati and the delicato. Puris. So fungi, the yeast is not acceptable to the Supreme Lord. Judge ko sir, may tanong pa? Okay na? Yung moon. Yung moon, si Chandra Dave, he said that the light of the moon is very good for the plants. It has got nothing to do with photosynthesis. It gives, it enlivens the plants, the flowers, the plants to make the flowers, the spices to produce the necessary chemicals, the drugs, the natural drugs to be produced. So it is the moon which is responsible for that. So that's why if you read some other parts of the Vedas, it is the process of getting the herbs. There's a schedule during the month. Hindi yung basta-basta kukuha ng herbs na ganito. Even in getting the leaves of Tulsi Devi, the days na it's not allowed. During Ekadasi, you are not allowed to get Tulsi Devi's leaves during Ekadasi. So, like that. So, the moon is very important in producing herbs, drugs, and it gives the aroma, the nice scent in the flowers. Is that alright? That's according to the Veda. So before we don't know that, isn't it? We don't know the benefits of the moonlight. But because we read it in the scripture, we know that due to the herbs are produced, different drugs and medicines are produced. So thank you. Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gola Premanande. Thank you for all the nice questions.